Who's ready for part 2 of the 16 meal ideas? Back in a minute. Hi, this is Jan from New York City, and my channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. Hope everybody's doing today on this part 2 of a 2-part series. Some neighbor's dog is barking. How unusual. Okay, sorry about that. Part 2 of a 2-part series of recipes for the real world. These are affordable. These are interchangeable recipe ideas, meal ideas, really. That's what they are. Meal planning ideas. Okay, let's see if we can get through this despite the dog barking. Okay, if by the way, if you missed yesterday's show, you'll get to see the first 8. Just roll it back to yesterday's video and you'll get the first 8. And today we're going to give you 9 to 16. Okay, we're going to start with, now, did you ever have, let's say you had 4 people to feed, but you only have 3 hot dogs to feed. What do? You stretch it out. The beauty part of a Frankfurter is that you could cut them up and stretch them. Anytime you run into that dilemma in any recipe, if you could just cut the pieces smaller and add some sort of filler, you can stretch out your recipe that way, especially when you are low on recipe ingredients. Okay, so in this case, we're going to take 3 grilled Frankfurters, cut up and added to a large can of pork and beans. Just grill them up already, put them into the pork and beans, heat that together nicely. But on the side, you're also going to share some rice. All of this makes a great filling meal that you can share with the 4 people. So it's doable, it's workable, it's possible, and it is affordable. Next, good old macaroni and cheese. Whether you get it from the box, whether you do the kit with the gooey cheese like I recommend, or the powdery one, whatever you have on hand, that's what counts. If you have some that you make by yourself, your own recipe macaroni and cheese. But do yourself a favor if you like the flavor of bacon. If you happen to have some bacon bits, the kind that's already done up, you could just sprinkle some of that on top of it, and it gives it a nice little smoky taste to it. Just lends for an extra additional taste. If you don't have it, you don't have it. That's totally fine. What other people do, speaking of Frankfurters, they take a Frankfurter, they cut that up very, very thinly. They grill that up till it's very dark, very caramelized, and some people actually put that on top of their macaroni and cheese to give that smokiness of flavor lend to it. It's really, really good. On the side, serve some steamed frozen broccoli. Yum. You got yourself a good meal right there. Next, you could bake or roast chicken thighs with the skin removed. Okay, a skinless, boneless thighs. Roll that in a little bit of mayonnaise, not a ton, a little bit, and then roll that into, I like it with the Italian flavored breadcrumbs. Some people prefer other types of breadcrumbs. To me, this works out so good. You bake that off for, I guess, about 30 minutes. And you could serve that with your favorite green vegetable or beets or whatever vegetable you have on hand. Whatever you have on hand is the one that you use on the side. Very inexpensive, very filling, and very yummy, and very affordable. Again, for the real world. Next, good old spaghetti and meatballs. I don't care if it's from a can. I don't care if it's from a box. You cannot go wrong with spaghetti and meatballs. If all you have is the one from the can, use the one from the can. Better to do that than not to eat, right? And I actually think the meatballs in the canned spaghetti and meatballs are shockingly delicious. They really are pretty darn good. But if you have, the one that you do from scratch with, scratch spaghetti. When I say scratch spaghetti, I mean from the box. Because fresh pasta is actually much more expensive. And you got to be very careful with fresh pasta because you can't make a phone call or answer one that cooks up in such a hurry, you will not believe it. By the way, here's the tip. If you enjoy the freshness and the quickness of certain pastas, but you don't want to go for the money, buy a box of angel hair pasta. It cooks up so fast and it is so yummy and it is so affordable. And I love that with a thin marinara sauce and some canned drained mushrooms. Mwah! That is very, very good. So that was an additional bonus meal planning idea right there. Next, good old cheeseburgers, but instead of the typical French fries, you could have frozen sweet potato fries if you're a sweet potato kind of person. But if sweet potatoes are not your deal, then go with the traditional French fries that are frozen. Just bake them off, and they're less calories and less fatty. Or slash, if you only have tater tots, go for that. If you have mashed potato flakes, then go for that. Whatever you have on hand, even a baked potato is not a bad idea. A hamburger, a cheeseburger with a baked potato on the side. Yum. Very, very filling. Next, chicken and rice soup, either from the can or homemade. Chicken rice soup is delish, especially on those chilly, blustery nights coming home from work, right? Corn muffins or cornbread on the side, you are good to go. You have everything you need. You have your little bit of chicken, you have a little bit of noodles, you have some vegetables in there, and then on the side, some cornbread or a corn muffin. Delish. Sounds good to me. And then finally, meal number 16. Well, I don't know about you. I hardly ever mention this, but it's really worth the mention. I really, really love eggplant. Who out there loves to eat fresh eggplant? I love eggplant parmesan. It's very easy to make. If eggplant is not your thing, you may consider something else, like maybe fried zucchini. Some people prefer fried zucchini. Fried zucchini sticks are so, so good. I used to consider that a treat because they're fried and all this and all that. But eggplant parmesan, or if you prefer chicken cutlet parmesan, whatever you have on hand, you add your tomato sauce, you add your shredded mozzarella to it. You are so, so good to go. And it is so worth it. So either eggplant parmesan or whatever parmesan of choice. Meatball parmesan is also a great option. If you have any leftover meatballs from the night that you might have had spaghetti and meatballs, and if you froze them or if you still have them on the side, all you have to do is throw some shredded mozzarella on top of that. Put that on a hero bread or on an individual Kaiser type of roll, a hard, crusty roll. Yum. You got yourself a really darn good dinner there on the cheap. And like I said earlier, these meals are interchangeable. In fact, that's what I love about these meals. They are quite interchangeable. Could do it for lunch, could do it for dinner, could have half of it. I've done this before, and don't feel afraid to try to do this. Don't think like the food cops are watching. For example, let's say you really enjoy eggplant parmigiana and you happen to have had it for lunch. So suppose you wanted it again at dinner, whatever you had left of it. Who cares? No judgment here. If you want to have that again at dinner, it's yours. You eat it. You paid for it. You enjoy it. There's no fixed rules on this, especially if you enjoy it. So hopefully these meal ideas will help. The idea is to save a little bit of money and also a little bit of stress. I think it's important to have meal ideas on hand. Sometimes we just get so busy, we go blank on them. So if you could get them, here on the billions of other suggested ideas from people that have their meal ideas, I wanted to focus on very affordable meal planning, especially this month. And I truly hope that these ideas are helpful. There you go. Did I mention that frittata? Hopefully I did. I believe I did. The potato and egg and onion frittata. Yes, I did do that. I didn't want that one to go by because that is so inexpensive, but it's so yummy-licious. Yes, yummy-licious, yummy-licious. Okay, there you go. Okay, I'm going to find my outro, and then I'm going to come back with a wave, and I'll be right back. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take good care. Let me know if you like these ideas. Take care.